What's going on, guys? My name is Edwin Meza. We're here in Texas-made Welding Academy inside our new and improved boots. I've been here for a good 4 months. Took on the combo course with minimum experience. And I'm going to show you how I learned and how I weld 5G TIG. So these are our coupons that we use here at Texas-made. Schedule 86-inch pipe. This is already prepped. I pre-prepped them for y'all. Let me show y'all one close. Little tip, how I do it, I'll get the inside real cleaned up. You know, this is how I clean it up. I'll get the inside real good. I'll use a grinding disc 1/8 to touch up the outside, the bevel. Then I'll hit it with the flapper wheel. It ain't the prettiest, but it'll do the job. I'm gonna be doing a 532 gap. So we're gonna work on our fit up. I'm gonna be using a 532 spacer. We're gonna get that out of a 532 rod. Basically what I do, I just chip off everything that's on here. I'll bend it and I'll hit it with some sandpaper, get all that extra stuff off of there. Whenever you're doing a fit up, you don't wanna tack it in between these two ends right here. Why? Because the pipe will warp, it'll bend, and these things will get pinched and it won't come out, or you'll struggle to get it out. So I always try to get it on these two sides of the angles. Make sure your high-low is as best can be. If you have a flashlight, you can look at it a little bit better, but that's pretty good for me. Whenever I tack, I look at my spaces, see what side is the widest, and see what side is the tightest. No pun intended. Looks pretty good on my end. If you want to get a closer look. All right, so we're about to do this tack. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you have an extremely sharp tungsten. Since I'm using a number 10 cup, I'm going to leave the tungsten sticking out just a little bit so I can get inside them bevels real good. I'm running my machine at 100 amps just for my tack. After I get that tack in, we're gonna see if I gotta turn that heat up or turn it down. So we're gonna start this tack up. Make sure your argon's on. Get yourself in a nice, comfortable position. So you can feed this wire. So I'm gonna get it hot, and I'm gonna start on top, bring it down, get it back up, get the walls. Make sure you're feeding wire. Make sure your wire is getting fed real good. So I went ahead and rotated my pipe. Tack came out all right. I'm looking at my space. Everything looks pretty much even. I personally like to put 2 tacks only. I'll take a tack and put it on 6 o'clock, and I'm gonna do my next one right across 12 o'clock. Everybody has their own preference. Some people do 3 tacks, some people do 4, some people do bridge tacks. I personally like to do 2. You're not gonna want your gap to shift or to close up on you or anything. So I'm gonna find my tightest side, and right now, looks like my right side is the tightest. So I'm gonna take that same spacer and I'm only gonna insert a little piece of it, just so it doesn't close up on you. You don't want to insert the whole thing, because then you're gonna have a hard time taking that thing out. So I got my spacer in there, but before you start tacking, you want to make sure that the gap that you first wanted to have, which is this one right here, is still the same. You don't want it to open up any more than it should. And if it's good, you're good to go. So I went ahead and feathered my tacks. I got my tack up on the 12 o'clock. I got my tack down on the 6 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and start filling it in about a quarter up this way, just so to even out my gap. It'll open up this gap over here that's a little bit tighter. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the opposite side, just so my gaps stay even and it doesn't warp it or it doesn't move it, close this side too much. I'm gonna go ahead and start heating up my pipe. I'm gonna keep my rod on the inside. Just so gravity can help me out while I'm tacking this. I want to make sure I catch both walls. You get a little uncomfortable, just back up, freeze your wire, pick right back up. About halfway in, halfway out. Still making sure I'm catching all the walls, both walls. I'm about halfway, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out.
Okay.
Alright guys, so I went ahead and finished up my root. As you can see, got a little rough spot up top, but you know, well, I'm gonna make mistakes, but it's looking alright for me. I'm gonna go ahead and wire wheel my pipe, get my 332 rods, and start on my hot pass. So it's all cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and turn up my machine. I'm gonna grab my 332 rod, get my heat up to about 120 amps, and I'm gonna get this hot pass going. I'm gonna go ahead, get myself in a good position. Make sure I start at a good side, just so I can grab the other side easy too whenever I start the other side. Whenever you're running your hot pass, you want to make sure that you don't stay in one spot for too long, because if you have a good root, there's a possible chance that you could suck it back and that'll just ruin everything. So you want to keep your movement consistent. Make sure you're grabbing both walls. Nothing a little WD-40 can't fix. Just make sure you're grabbing both walls always. Remember whenever you're gonna pull off, you don't pull off right in the middle of the weld. That can leave you a fisheye and it's not gonna look good. Always try to put the tungsten, point it towards the walls and let it out. I'm gonna go ahead and start on my other side. Alright guys, so right here while I'm laying my hot pads down, I'm not necessarily feeding wire. I'm just smearing, laying the wire down, making sure I catch both walls. Check your time. Nice and slow, keep a good consistency going. Both walls, make sure you're grabbing the walls. Alright guys, so I just got done running my hot pass. I gave it a little cleaning. I'm about to start doing my fills. Got my 1/8 rod with me. I'm gonna go ahead and crank up my heat to about 160, 170. And whenever you're gonna start doing your fills, really depending on how you're gonna be doing it. Either you're gonna be doing it fast or you're not gonna be doing it slow. I am gonna start feeding on this one and I turned up my heat a little bit. It really depends on your heat also. You wanna make sure if you're gonna be feeding a lot of wire, you're gonna be running hot. You know, you don't wanna be feeding a lot of wire and running a little bit cold. Because if you're running real cold and you're feeding too much wire, it can give you cold lap, you know? So you gotta play with it. You gotta really feel your machine and catch your rhythm going, you know, get it right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start these fills. I got my machine right, I got my tungsten sharp, and I got my rod cut at the right length. Get yourself in a good position. Heavy ass TIG rig, bro. All right, guys, I just got done filling up my pipe. Whenever you're filling up, man, keep in mind that you don't want to go over your edges. If you do, you might end up making the bevel a lot wider, and it's going to cause you to throw 2-3 bead caps. Me personally, on 5G, I like to just do one. Looks a lot cleaner for me. Whenever you're flushing out your pipe, try to make sure that you got about an 1/16 above your flush. You know, that'll push it out a little bit more, give you a nice crown on it. But yeah, let me clean this up right quick, and I'm gonna start my cap. All right, so I'm about to start getting ready to cap, guys. While I was doing my fills, I was running at about 200. It's a lot easier for me. Sometimes I freehand it, you know, feed it a lot faster, fill up my bevel a lot faster. But whenever I'm gonna start doing my cap, I turn it down to about 180, just so I don't dig at my walls whenever I'm trying to cap it. Also caused me to start throwing a 2-bead cap. Whenever you're at the bottom, try to make sure it's gonna be a lot harder whenever you're burning real hot, because gravity will also cause that. So, you know, just play with the heat, how you feel, whatever makes you feel better. So I'm gonna go ahead and start, but also keep in mind, a nice sharp tungsten will always be better for you. This is how I like to run mine. A lot of people do it by hand. I use a drill personally. If you don't have that advantage like I do, you know, you can get you a tungsten grinder or holder, or do it with your hands, either or. Also, I like to run a number 10 cup. I don't like to switch. I feel like number 10 is pretty usable for anything really. But I mean, it's to your preference. You might like it using a number 8 or smaller, or like jump in between as you get up on the bevel. But me, I just like to stick to 10, and that's how I do it. All right, guys, so right here, as you see, I'm keeping my rhythm nice and slow. I try not to rush. This is my preference. I want to make sure that I get everything right. I catch the edges, and I'm comfortable. Try to keep that tungsten pointing down. You know, you don't want to lift it. It's just like stick. Catch the edges. Whenever you need to, you can get in a better position. If you have to stop, stop. If you don't, you just keep going. Same rhythm. Nice and slow. Try not to put too much pressure on your TIG rig. You don't want to slip out of position. You don't want your cup to slide out from under you. Whenever you get comfortable, you'll know yourself that you release pressure from your TIG rig and get more relaxed on your wrist and your hand, because you will cramp up. At least I do. Right now, the only issue I got is that I didn't wrap my hose around my arm. So as I'm walking the cup, I feel the hose dancing around. Now again, that's a preference thing. It always helps me. If you get to this point, you'll feel it. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Go ahead and lift off. It is as one side for you. That personally is my hard side. I know there isn't a hard side or an easy side when it comes to 5G, but I just feel a lot more comfortable being on this side. But that's side one. Let me start with a fresh tungsten. Another preference thing is I like to leave my tungsten a little bit sticking out more than usual. A lot of guys have it in right at the edge of it, but me personally, I feel that when I'm doing a 1 bead cap, the tungsten sticking out more will help me get over the hump of it a lot easier than with a shorter tungsten, more in. I'm kind of real tight with it. But so for demonstration purposes, we're gonna time lapse this other side, and if you give me a few seconds, you'll see how it is when I connect them. All right, let me know, Cuddy, let me know. All right, guys, so I'm about to start up on my second side of my cap. Just a little tip for you: whenever you're gonna start, don't start exactly where you started the last one, the first one, like right here. Don't start right here. Start about an inch, half inch back. So whenever you're burning in already, you blend this in right here. You don't leave a little dip right there, you know? So just to keep in mind, start a little bit behind. Same thing, just like if you're welding stick, same thing. All right, so you're gonna wanna start about right here. That's a good little spot, maybe even a little bit more back. You know, you can tap it, you can strike it, whatever you want. But like I was saying about my tungsten, leaving it sticked out a little bit, that's what I like to use, to utilize. I feel like it's a lot easier for me to reach the edges when I'm going over the hump of it. That's why I stick mine out just quite a bit more than usual. It's a preference thing, of course. Y'all will figure it out yourselves whenever y'all give it a try. But this is what I'm gonna be doing right here. Nice and tight. All right, guys, real quick. You see the top right here? You wanna make sure that before you tie this in, you grind it out, clean it off, this little itty bitty piece of silicone. If you don't, it'll come out on your x-rays. You can bust it, that little trash. So make sure it's something like a fisheye, but not really, but just make sure you get it. I gave it a nice little landing just so I can ride that wave a little easier. All right, guys, I just got done with my cap. Same thing, fisheye is gonna leave it off whenever you pop off. So I'm gonna go ahead and grind it out. Let you see the finished product. Is it zesty? All right, guys, so that's my 5G TIG all the way out. I've been here at the great Texas-made Welding Academy for going about 3.5 months. A little bit about myself. I am coming from being a scaffold builder, scaffold supervisor to be exact. I've been doing that for a while already. I just needed a change in career, and welding was always something I always wanted to do. So, you know, I took the initiative and made the jump. Signed up, gave Lino a phone call. He made me feel at home. So this is what I've learned so far. My next process is gonna be stainless. Hopefully I'll be shooting a stainless video for y'all soon. And after that, hopefully I'll be hitting the field, burning rods. You know, y'all might catch me out there. But other than that, I just wanna give a shout out to the good people over at Desmadre Ranch. My brother Valentin behind the camera, my brother Lino. If you wanna give a little quick shout out to the teacher, taught me everything I know. Great instructor, great instructor, man. Y'all give him a call. If y'all think about it, if y'all want it, y'all just do it. That's all I gotta say, man. Just go for it, because it ain't gonna come to you. You gotta get to it. All right, see y'all next time.